everyone, and welcome to another edition of Starting 11 here on the Let's Get Ready Network. I'm Adelia, that's my buddy Snark, and we have a lot of stuff to talk about today because we were not here last week. Snark, where should we start?
We're going to start all the way back. All the way back. If you can remember a time, it was May the 2nd. It was a Tuesday. And a couple of teams faced off against each other. We got some northern London club against one of the finer football clubs in the world, although they haven't shown it this year. Admittedly, we got Arsenal and Chelsea. Arsenal, big 3-1 winners, and it was never close.
No.
Chelsea, not at their best, guys. They weren't at their best in this game. Odegaard was good. He scored 17 minutes in off the bar, and then it was like the same play. It's like Chelsea just won't learn because it's the same play. It just goes into a different spot in the net, and that was only 15 minutes after that. Who else? Gabby Jesus scores. It's 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes down to it, here's the big deal for me. Madueke finally scores a Chelsea goal. Of course, it only made it 3-1, and that's the final. But at least he gets his first. He's on the board as a contributor to Chelsea Football Club, which is good news. He's played well. He hasn't been the worst. And all throughout this thing, I could talk about Chelsea's lineups. Aubameyang starts. Aubameyang?
Yeah, that was weird.
Okay, come on. Kovacic starts. None of these people are in our future. Yeah, he throws them out there. Mudryk doesn't get on till the 71st minute, and he looks great. That final 20 minutes, he was really good. Whatever. Come on, Frankie, just drives me nuts. And João Felix doesn't play at all. Not 1 second for João Felix.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's like you go down 3-0, and he's throwing in a white flag already. It's like whatever. 2 more weeks left in the season. I can't wait. We'll talk about it when we get to it. But as much as I complained about that, they had another match. Well, we'll talk about the other matches here real quick. Liverpool beat Fulham that week. City had no problem with West Ham, obviously. City has no problems with anybody, it seems. Brighton beat Manchester United, and that was big for them. And then we led to Bournemouth at home against your Chelsea Football Club. And I actually didn't get to see this match. I was in a dart tournament, so I had to listen to it through the Fifth Stand app or whatever. And I didn't have headphones. You weren't allowed the headphones, so I had to just turn the volume up and put it against my ear. I look like a goddamn weirdo. More so a goddamn weirdo. Let's say that. It's another different starting 11, but Betty Ashiel and Chalaba on the back line didn't look bad. As I saw from the replays later. They didn't look bad. Gallagher, he's in and scores. All right, good. Now, I don't know if Gallagher's in our plans, but at least he seems to show heart. He was one of the only guys that looks like he's actually trying. He's going to get a yellow card, and he does. But, that's just who he is. Wesley Fofana was out for some reason. Mudryk was in. Havertz was in. Sterling and Alba were out. That goal by Conte with that nice cross in for that goal for Gallagher. And then speaking of nice goals, that Vigna kid over in Bournemouth, that real nice run up there with Solanke and Christie to score. And the guys, I was listening to the just to the highlights or whatever, and those guys were jumping up and down. Everybody seems to jump up and down a little harder when somebody scores against Chelsea, but they were talking about how beautiful this goal. It was a nice goal, but they're coming oh my god, it's like the hand of God goal all over again. I didn't get it. And here's another thing. Okay, back to weird lineup things. For some reason, Frankie brings on Hakim Ziyech.
Yeah.
Whatever. But there's a free kick, and he puts it onto the boot of Betty Ashiel. Betty Ashiel scores his first for Chelsea. Chelsea has a lead late in the game. I can't believe it. I'm hooting and hollering in a dart hall, and no one understands why. But that's fine. That's fine. And then Jao Felix scores finally, and he didn't he put it across or whatever against kind of the run where the ball was going and in. It was a simple looking play, but he puts that over the net 95% of the time for Chelsea. So I was quite happy with that. It's the first time Frankie's won since his return. It's the first time Chelsea's won in 10 matches. I'm sure it's going to be just a momentum builder for Chelsea, and they're going to look terrific for the rest of the year. No problem. And he's going to stick with the lineup that works because it makes sense.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't
we'll
think
see.
so.
We'll see what happens. Next, what else? What other games were there? Gosh darn it! City again beats Leeds only 2-1. So
Yeah.
Leeds put up a fight. Spurs beat Palace. Wolves over Villa, which is surprising.
Mm-hmm.
The Wolves, I thought were going to mail it in as soon as they were clear of the spot. I thought, yeah, they're just going to rest whoever. They don't give a crap anymore. They're just going to continue on to the end of the year and not try. But they tried against Villa. Maybe that took Villa by surprise. Who knows? But yeah, it cost them. Liverpool over Brentford. That was a good game, 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
Now the next game, and ultimately the last one we'll talk about from the previous week, is Newcastle 0, Arsenal 2. Now, uh, again, another bad start from Arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was that shot goes off the post. I think that was 90 seconds in, and then in the 8th minute, it looks like Newcastle is going to get a penalty, but Guimaraes puts one off of what's his name? Kivior? Is that how you pronounce it? Kivior?
Kivior. Yeah.
Kivior. It looks like it goes off his arm. Of course, they're claiming penalty, penalty, penalty. They look in the VAR, and VAR works for Arsenal because it does
For a
deflect off his leg.
change.
Yeah, it does deflect off his leg. Yeah, yeah. The only team it never works for is Tottenham, as we all know, as they have mentioned. Tottenham never gets a break from VAR. Whatever. But yeah, goes in or no goal, and then it's kind of against the run of play because Newcastle has played really well for the first 20 minutes, but it's Odegaard who scores
Yeah.
again. Another goal for the captain, Martin Odegaard. Want to just talk about his season? We'll leave Sunday out of it for now, but his season, a season for your captain when they really needed some leadership, and I think he stepped up huge this year. I think he may not have the most goals for your squad and stuff like that, but I think he's been overall your best player.
I agree with that. I think he's definitely been the player of the season. Um, he scored more goals in the Premier League than he ever has before. He's been assisting on goals. He's just generally played overall very well this
Yeah,
season.
it's been a rock in your
He's had his
midfield.
moments where he hasn't played as well. This weekend was one of them. But uh, he's definitely been the highlight of the season, and I'm so glad he's the captain. He's really stepped up after the whole leadership debacle that existed with making Aubameyang captain and the kind of captain
How
Aubameyang
does that
was.
happen? How does that happen? Unfreaking believable.
Well,
I'm
granted,
watching this. Oh
Xhaka
my
would have
god.
been the captain, but he decided to flip off the crowd and tell him to fuck off.
He's
So,
Swiss. He's Swiss. Give him a break. That's how they work in Switzerland,
I mean,
as we all know.
maybe, but uh, so the fact that we have a captain that I feel like we can have faith in and trust in really is good
Yeah.
because
Uh,
he's a great leader. I think.
yeah, he's been fantastic for you guys. Uh, yeah, something that is surely lacking with my Chelsea squad. We're going to see what happens come next year. Of course, Dave isn't going to be around, but we'll just finish off the week. What happened? West Ham beats Manchester United. All right.
I mean, sure.
Yeah, yeah. Fulham beats Leicester. Everyone's going to beat Leicester, guys. Uh, Here's an odd one. Everton on the road beats Brighton 5-1.
They thrashed Brighton. That
What
game was
happened?
never close. They scored like 30 seconds in, and it was never close.
what
I
a
don't know what
huge,
to make of that
yeah,
one.
huge dent for Brighton, who look to be in control of maybe getting into Europa League. And they still have a path, but it gets a lot more difficult now. Um, yeah, that's a game that there's no way they should have lost. There's no way, and giving up that much is shocking, shocking stuff.
Yeah,
And yeah, and the last match, of course, Forest takes off or beats Southampton 4-3, an enormous win for Nottingham
yeah.
Forest, and it puts Southampton into a very bad spot, which we will talk more of in a minute when we get to this week's games. But first, we're going to let our buddy Justin talk to you about how he can help us out with our Patreon.
Hey guys, it's Justin, aka Hambone, just here to let you know a couple of things that we have going on with the channel. One, we have a Patreon. If you can and want to support us, you can do that. As little as $1. You can join the Discord. We also have a merch store where you can get some cool shirts, mugs, and stuff with all of our different shows and labels on there. And thank you for all of our supporters that have already been there with us.
European disco music.
All right, Snug. Let's talk about this weekend. Saturday had a bunch of games.
Yeah.
Sunday, fewer games, but we did have some interesting results on Saturday, I thought.
Right. Yeah. The last kind of regular week we're gonna have, I think, is we got some weird games coming up and stuff like that, and a bunch of people have to play a few times just to finish out the season. Teams like Brighton and stuff, for example, have to play a few times. Newcastle, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
But we'll start with Manchester taking on the Wolves at Old Trafford, and the Wolves really playing for nothing right now. Their position is secured. They're going to be through. They're safe, and they played like they're going to be safe
Yeah,
because
they did.
they were terrible. They were awful. Yeah, United were playing like they were trying to improve their position in Europe and at least keep top four. Looks like they should. Marshall and Garnacho were the goal scorers for them. Um, yeah, good for them. I just want to take a quick look at their table. They're right in there with Newcastle. Uh, Liverpool,
Yeah,
like Liverpool's just coming now, but Brighton's
yeah,
still there. Brighton still has that outside chance, but I
yeah.
think they're yeah.
I
It's gonna
think.
be pretty tough.
Yep.
Let's go to Leeds 2, Newcastle 2, and this has got to be a huge disappointment for Newcastle and a
Yeah.
huge relief for Leeds. Even though they get the first goal through Ailing or whatever off that rebound, poor rebound control by Nick Pope, and then the penalty shot comes. Like the penalty comes up later. Yeah, it was Furple, I believe, that was taken out. And I think Joe Linton took him down. But Patrick Bamford, again, not a that was just not a quality penalty shot. It
No.
easily it was like I think it's like his head was like just fixated on where he wanted to go. Nick Pope was I think he was there waiting for the ball to come to him almost for God's sakes. So a huge missed opportunity to go up two, and it cost them because Callum Wilson will get a penalty shot after uh, uh, Isaac gets pulled down in the box. So he gets a shot. He gets in. He gets another chance later. He buries it. Uh, another penalty because it looked like Furpo was being pushed in the back, and his finger kind of grazes it.
Yeah.
And but they still call it a penalty. I thought that was I thought that was odd that they actually allowed that to happen and stuff like that. But I have given up. I've given up trying to decide what constitutes a
Yeah.
VAR
We have
challengeable event. Yeah,
no
nobody
idea.
knows anymore.
No
It's
clue.
bananas. But Christensen will tie the game late off of Trippier. Just an odd play from outside the box. A nothing looking shot, but that's what happens when you put the ball on net. Stuff like that
Yeah.
happens. An enormous point for Leeds. Uh, they're still in the relegation zone. They're only a point behind Everton now, and they're 3 points behind Forest. Forest is in control of their destiny at least. But yeah, that those bottom four, Everton through Southampton, we'll talk about in a minute. Everton, Leeds, Leicester City is going to be it will probably now be more interesting than what happens at the top of the table. But we'll talk about some of those matches after. Well, let's talk about Southampton now. Guess what? They're relegated.
Yeah.
They're relegated. Fulham gets to Vinicius scores and back after an 8-game ban for being the biggest dummy in the Premier League this year. Alexander Mitrovic, and he scores as well. That's all I'm going to really say about it. Yeah, he shouldn't have been able to come back this year. It's ridiculous. I don't know why he's back for 2 games or 3 games or whatever it is, and off the bench
too. It is ridiculous.
So, yeah, just give him the year.
Absurd.
Look like the bigger people. Just give him the year. Yeah, dumb. Anyways, Southampton, we hardly knew you. Now, you look at Southampton's starting squad, and really, who do you? If you're Arsenal, you're looking at their back line of Bednarik, Walker-Peters, Lianco, and Maitland-Niles. There's just nobody you want. The only person
we gave them Maitland-Niles.
Yeah.
We don't want him back.
No, you don't need him. James Ward-Prowse, probably the only name worth getting. Maybe Alcaraz, I guess, in a spot or whatever, if someone's going to be playing a soft 9 or something like that. But James Ward-Prowse, of course, I think will be up for the bidding here.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to. I don't know which kind of team I could see him maybe going to a Manchester United or something like that, making a play for him. Just plays in that weird position out wide in the midfield. So, but you cannot deny his prowess from a free kick. Maybe the best free kick taker since Beckham. He's been terrific and scored a beauty against Chelsea. Yeah, Southampton can beat Chelsea. Nobody else, it seems. Nobody else. I think except Tottenham.
Arsenal couldn't beat him.
Oh yeah,
Arsenal couldn't beat him.
Such a strange squad. Such a strange squad.
It is.
They just don't get up for the games they should.
Well,
that's why they're down below. Palace beat Bournemouth. Eze with the brace. He's been very good. He's kind of taken over for Will Zaha, who I'm sure is going to be leaving at the end of the year. I don't know where he's going to go.
No clue.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to stay in England or if he's going to move on. Just needs to work on his anger issues. Come on, Will Zaha. I'm cheering for him. I hope he does well. I don't hate the man. Just needs to get himself together. All right. Let's talk Chelsea 2, Forest 2. And so I talk about the things that Lamps does for the lineups for his starting 11.
Mm-hmm.
And every week there's something unnatural and bizarre about it, and I just don't get it. And it's because we have 31 players or something like that, and you keeps trying to tinker with everything now for no reason. The most damning tinkering comes when he takes out Kepa Arrizabalaga, who admittedly hasn't been terrific this year either, for Edouard Mendy, a man who drives me bananas.
I saw Mendy was playing.
Bananas. We talked about what happened at Leeds and those awful plays that he personally made, clearing balls and stuff to the wrong teams, and he was responsible for so much garbage. First thing he does, the first shot on net by what's his name, Iwini, Awini. I'm sorry, I have a hard time pronouncing that name, but he scores a brace. Yeah. But the first one, what is this push? It just makes no. He looked late. He looked confused. He looked lazy. It looked like a guy who hasn't played in months and months and months. Has he played since the World Cup, where he was also terrible? I don't know. I don't know. But he looked awful. I don't understand it at all. I don't know why. I would go with the kid. From that we brought in from Chicago Fire or something like that over Mendy. It's what's the point in that? There's no point in having Edouard Mendy on the field. None. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Anyways, there was good news. Raheem Sterling earlier in the week said he wants to be part of Chelsea moving forward. He wants to be a part of whoever the new manager is going to be. I think it's basically been announced. I'll talk about it at the end of we talking about everything. Yeah, it's reported all over the place. Just hasn't had the press conference or anything like that yet. But we'll talk about it in a minute. But Raheem Sterling says he wants to be a part of the future of Chelsea Football Club going forward. And he finally showed up. He was refreshing to watch. He finally gets it. He gets 2 goals. He gets another 2-3 opportunities that should have been goals. He was everywhere for this team. He was just, yeah, this is what we've been waiting 36 games for, Raheem. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Anyways, he looked good. He looked good. But yeah, you can't give up. And again, they played Brennan Johnson off the bench again. Like Forrest didn't even play Johnson. Like, yeah, I don't know. It was Mudryk never came on. How do you not have him on? He's so fast. He's so good with the ball.
I have not understood the way Chelsea has dealt with Mudryk ever since he arrived there. It makes no sense. None.
Yeah, no, it does not make any sense at all. But supposedly this new manager is really good with young players. So we'll see what he does with a guy who I think could be a real diamond in this league. Just needs to get playing time. And he's, yeah, it's bananas that he's not getting it. But I didn't even have time to hurt that much. It was still a point. It's still a point for Chelsea. I think they're in 11th spot still. Yeah. So it doesn't look like they're going to be able to finish outside of the, unless something bananas happens. They'll finish outside the top 10, which isn't very cool. I can admit that. But, it is what it is. On to next year. What does make my heart smile is when Aston Villa beat Spurs 2-1. The Hotspur slide. This is what I wrote down in the notes. Hotspur slide isn't just the hottest new dance step. It's also Tottenham slide out of contention for proper European play. I think they can still play in that other European contenders league or whatever they call it. That nobody gives a shit about that. West Ham is still the conference league. West Ham's still in that, guys. By the way, West Ham. I guess that's the only reason why.
West Ham is in the semifinals of the Europa Conference League. Yeah. Okay.
They're almost.
That's got to be the only reason why David Moyes still has a job.
I think I had that written down as well. Now we know why. Because they're still in something, I guess. Whatever. It's Ramsey getting up early. Douglas Luiz scores. How many chances did Spurs get in this game? How many off the post? How many? I think Son scores twice, and they were both offside by a mile.
Yeah.
Needed to get called in from VAR because the referees are now just so lazy. They just, we'll just let VAR take care of it. Clear and obvious. So they just let that happen. All right. Kane, of course, scores on a penalty, which is, again, weird. The goalie comes out the slide to get it. Looks like he gets the ball, and it looks like Kane jumps into him.
Yeah.
But they still give him a penalty.
And VAR still gives the penalty.
Yeah, bananas.
It's Harry Kane.
Yeah, it's Harry Kane. Harry Kane. Again, I can talk about this a little later. It would be kind of miraculous if it happens, but now there's a chance of him moving south because there's a manager that he really likes taking over a certain club, supposedly. Now let's just take a look. Aston Villa is right there, 57 points and 8. It looks like they're going to finish outside the top 5. Liverpool with 65 points now. Who saw this coming with Dum Dum in charge at the beginning of the year? I certainly didn't.
No, I didn't either. Unai Emery's really turned Aston Villa around.
Has to be in contention, right, for manager of the year? Has to be in contention.
He has to be in contention for manager of the year.
I don't know who else would be in. They'll probably give it to Pep or something stupid like that anyways with all the talent they got. It never makes any sense to me, but...
Probably.
Yeah. Let's move on. We got Brentford, West Ham, and Brentford scores. I just wrote down who scored here for them. It was Jan Wissa with the second. But the first goal scored by Brian. Here comes the Mbumo. I don't know. I just like to add that a little bit. Mbumo, one of my favorite names to say in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to finish top 10. Brentford, good for them. West Ham, again. David Moyes is still in charge. They're not going to get relegated. And they could actually win some weird trophy that no one ever cared about in their entire lives. But yeah, they're in contention for something, unlike a couple other squads.
I think they're up from the first leg of the
Yeah,
semifinals too.
I think I read something where it said they're barely up, and I said that means they're up. Like it's not like they're playing right now. They're not barely up. They're up.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Let's talk. Okay, it's getting close to winding down here because we got City 3, Everton 0, and you knew this was going to happen and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
City has just been on such a roll. 11 wins in a row now. Look pretty unstoppable. It's 2 goals for Gundogan, and of course, with his, I believe his 36th of the year, Erling Haaland, yet another goal. Erling Haaland, the Football Writers Association Footballer of the Year. Do you think it's too early to call that? With a couple games left?
Just a little.
I think he'll be fine. Unless somebody could come on a huge charge. Raheem Sterling scored 2 goals in the last game. He could score probably another 30 over the next 3. You never know.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if I agree with them being the footballer of the year, because like he scores goals, but what else does he do?
Nothing. He stands there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
you do not depend on Erling Haaland to run back and break up a play in the other half. No. He has one job, but he does it better than anybody else on earth right now. He's been remarkable at scoring goals. Time to rip off the Band-Aid there, Gunners fan. Arsenal 0 and Brighton 3 at the Emirates at home.
Of the games that we had left, this was the one that I was like, I'm worried about Brighton. When Everton thrashed Brighton last week, I got even more worried about this game.
Yeah.
Because I knew Brighton was going to come with a response, and Brighton were brilliant. Let me just say that first off. Brighton were absolutely brilliant in this game. And
especially in that second
we
half.
were not. Especially in the second half. We were not.
You guys, you're right.
I did not see some chunks of this game. I saw some of it on my phone while babysitting my niece and nephew. I listened to the second half while I was driving to get pizza, so I didn't witness it live, but I heard it live.
Right.
This is what they did last year. Honestly, they didn't do enough in the final few games of the season, and it cost us the Champions League. It's not going to cost us the Champions League this year, but it cost us the title race. I'm not saying we were going to win the title. I've been very consistent on this program all year by saying I don't know that we're going to win the title.
No.
And we're not going to. It's done. It's over. City's going to beat Chelsea next week and win.
How dare you, madam? How dare you?
Am I wrong?
No.
So it's over. It's done. I'm actually glad it's over. I can enjoy the last few games of the season for what they are now.
Yeah.
And this has been a crazy season with a lot of really magical, memorable moments that I'll never forget. And I will enjoy it and look back on it fondly, because this team severely overachieved compared to what I thought they were going to do. I thought we would be competing for 4th, like we were last year, and we're finishing 2nd by quite a wide margin over 3rd place. I'm happy.
Yeah,
I'm not
at the beginning
thrilled,
of the year,
but I'm happy.
At the beginning of the year, if you're told you're going to coast into a Champions League spot, you'd be pretty content with that, especially after what happened last year.
Yeah, I would have totally taken it. So I'm not massively upset. I was a little bummed out when we lost this game, as one would be when the title race is over and you're the team that's going to finish 2nd. But we can't beat City. That's obvious.
Not many can.
And not many can. And we have to get better at beating teams like Brighton at home. which we can do next year. But I will say, our season got completely and totally derailed when Saliba got hurt.
100%. That's you can just tell the progression just kind of went like this.
Yeah.
As soon as that happened, it was maybe a slow
We were
descent down, but
93-point pace with Saliba in the lineup. It dropped down to a 63-point pace without him in the lineup. Like, it's a
right.
massive difference. So, like, we need to have better depth there, and I wish we would have gone to Kivior straight away. I understand why we didn't,
hmm
because he'd only played 2 games for us, and they weren't the best of games. But we can have him as a backup there now for next year, and Rob Holding can leave and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I love Rob Holding. I think he's a great locker room guy, but he should not be playing for Arsenal in the Premier League.
No. Yeah, I think you guys did wonderfully well, considering and again with Gabby Jesus going out early, and I was counting on him for so many goals for you guys, and you guys had goals by committee. You just had
We're the only team in the league that has 4 players that have scored at least 10 times in the league. That's impressive, considering we didn't have our striker for months on end.
Yeah, Martinelli really picked up a lot of that slack. I thought he had a really good year. Didn't have the best game. He didn't have the best game. I thought he
got taken out after like 20 minutes.
Right. Well, I thought he should have gotten at least a yellow card, maybe a red card for going absolutely through Mitoma with Mitoma in midair.
He should have had at least a yellow for that.
But I think Caicedo should have had a red card too for getting his ankle. He got no foul on that either, and that's what caused.
I don't know
Martinelli
who this ref was,
match.
but I was not a fan.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a great tackle. I think Trossard came on and he looked good.
Yeah.
Until that second goal.
Good. Yeah, until the second goal. That was an unfortunate flick, but Trossard's been great ever since we got him. I play him more.
Yeah, find a spot. I don't understand, but you guys also have an embarrassment of riches and stuff like that up front too. So it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice when something happens and you can take Trossard off the bench 20 minutes in. I can say that it just didn't work out. That first goal, let's talk about that one quick because there's some controversy about it. The ball coming in and Enciso scores, but it looks like Kivior may have been fouled on the lead up. What did you think of that play? I know what I think. I want to hear what you think about it.
It doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing trying to fix his shoe. I think that was pretty dumb. Just drop the shoe.
Yeah.
He didn't twist his ankle or anything like that. He goes down to put his shoe on. It's strange, but it looks like Ferguson is being pushed into him by Gabriel, and that's why I don't see why it would be a red card.
Yeah.
I think if a foul, it wouldn't have been a red card. A foul. But I think if the ref would have called a penalty, would have called, or it was the other way around or whatever. Yeah, I think VAR would have backed up the ref either way there. It was just an odd play, but ultimately doesn't matter. That goal by Undav or whatever at the end, putting it over Ramsdale. Just unfortunate. It was unfortunate. But you guys had so many good chances, like Saka just missing, Trossard hitting the goddamn bar.
Reece Nelson just missed at one point.
Misses going wide and whatever. I thought it's curling in. I thought it was going to say, look at this. It just won't. It just wouldn't curl enough. And I think right after that was the Undav goal. Let's see. Yeah, Gabby Jesus in the first half or whatever had a good chance.
I got annoyed at Peter Drury doing commentary when the second goal went in because he said it's over for the would-be champions. Yeah. Why are we called the would-be champions? City's been in the lead in the table for a couple of weeks now. That just really annoyed me. I love Peter Drury. He's had some incredible calls this year. That one really annoyed me.
You know what? I couldn't get. I can't remember who was actually calling it, but they had one of their best doing it. But Estupinian scores the third goal. But every time he would touch the ball, he would get up and yell, "Estupignon, Estupignon," and really overpronounce it. I thought it was funny every single time.
That's
Estupignon,
funny.
Estupignon.
The NBC broadcast had Peter Drury, and I think it was Lee Dixon. I don't think it was
Okay.
Graham Lasso. I think it was Lee Dixon. And when Estupinian scored the third goal, Lee Dixon just called him Caicedo the whole time. I was like, what are you doing? That was not Caicedo.
What a guy.
Peter Drury got it right in the original call, and then in the replay, when they're watching the replays, Lee Dixon was just like, Caicedo, Caicedo. And I was like, that's not Caicedo.
Estupignon, Estupignon. So and at home, that it's pretty unfortunate that happens, but you can't take back the year that Arsenal's had. Yeah, it is not mathematically over, but the probability of something like this happening
it will be after this weekend.
Yes, because supposedly Chelsea's going
City will have to lose
falter.
every game that they have left, and that's just not going to happen.
Maybe after an 11-game streak, maybe they're just a streaky club. They can go 11 wins and then
No.
All right,
it's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. But again, a great season for Arsenal. Champions League secured. There's going to be a West London team that's going to be watching you guys on Tuesdays or Wednesdays all year next year. So
also a North London team.
Yeah, but they're probably going to be grounded in their room or something like that. They probably can't afford TVs. Awful. Just one more match.
Arsenal will be the only team from London in the Champions League next year.
Yeah. This is bananas. But if anyone says London is red, come on. I can think of a team.
North London is.
North London is definitely red. Screw. Come on, talk. Oh my God, awful.
I would say all of London is red, but North London is definitely red this year.
Yeah, 100%. Just the one other match. It was Liverpool beating Leicester at the King Power Stadium this afternoon. Chorus of boos throughout the match for a Fox club that did not show up at all. They were absolutely terrible. Curtis Jones scores 2 in the first half. Both had to get looked at by VAR. I thought the first one, he was marginally onside. And then on the second half, or the second one, I'm sorry, he was, I thought he was offside. But both were allowed to count. And then it's Trent Alexander-Arnold, finish out the scoring, finish out the week. Guys, only 2 weeks left in the Premier League.
Yep.
It was bananas. Let's do some news here quick. Before we get on to next week's matches and we do our little guesstimations here, who's going to win. Of course, we talk about, because we forgot to actually do our predictions for this weekend here, but we did do some for the week prior. We had Adelia win 9-5 in a walk-off. She kicked the living shit out of me for not the first time this year. I'm going to say that. You had 0 problems. But I did get Chelsea beating Bournemouth. How about that? So I was that's basically a win.
I mean, sure.
I need anything I can get here, guys. Anything I can get. Yeah, so we talked about Holland winning the Footballer of the Year from the Football Writers Association. There's a chance that Jim Radcliffe may be in to buy the majority stakes in Manchester United. The two of the Glazer brothers or whatever may be pushing back against this. It's going to be a whole thing, but $6 billion for Manchester United. $6 billion worth of toilet paper. Who knows? But one thing I wanted to talk about, and that's Mauricio Pochettino. It's all but confirmed. There's been many outlets that have said he will be Chelsea's new manager come season's end. Again, not my first choice. I think he still has the smell of Tottenham on him, which is unclean, as we all know. And he had chances with PSG with a stacked lineup, and couldn't get it done. But that sack lineup, like, come on, some of them are pretty old, and just PSG can't win the Champions League. Come on, let's get real. I've heard that he's really good with young players. I've heard that the work rate expected is pretty incredible, but he's also a very hands-on coach. He is a very emotional guy. Everyone is expected to shake each other's hands. There's going to be lots of hugs. It's going to be a completely different Chelsea locker room come this summer. We're going to be able to drop a number of players that won't be back. Some players, such as Ruben Loftus-Cheek, I don't expect to be back. That's a pure profit thing, but it's hard. It's hard for me to say goodbye to some of the academy players that have come up and stuff like that. So, I wish, of course, I'm going to back Pochettino. I'm going to back my Chelsea squad. I don't care. Like, I back him. If we got relegated, I'll figure out ways to watch the other ones. I'm never going to cheer for another team. So, yes, I'm hoping for the best with this announcement. Well, soon to be announcement. But I'm just sick. I'm just sick of the year so far. I'm so sick of watching. I'm so sick of watching like a hero of mine run this club into the ground. Like, I just don't understand some of the appointments. So I'm just hoping, clear the slate. So we have to see some guys go. There's going to be some quality players coming. Christopher Nkunku's coming. And he's a hell of a talent in Germany. So it's gonna be another odd year, drama filled, I'm sure, for your good ship Chelsea next year. But let's talk next week, or this coming week, I suppose we could say. Matches start on Thursday with Newcastle, who has to get their matches in here, taking on a Brighton squad that just beat your Arsenal. And they have to do it at home.
I think I'm going to go with a draw.
Okay. I'm going to go with Brighton. I think Newcastle just has not looked in good form over the last couple of weeks. Brighton, of course, were terrible, and then they were really good. So we'll see which Brighton shows up. Probably the one that draws, because that's how my luck has been going with this lately. Next. Ooh, and this could be a good matchup. Spurs and Brentford. This is at the storied Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
The storied Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Oh, yeah, that everybody wants to get associated with.
Yeah, I will go with Brentford.
Good call. I'm going to do that too, because screw the Spurs. Bournemouth taking on Manchester United at home.
Man United.
Yeah, Bournemouth's safe. I'm assuming they'll give as much effort as like Wolves or whoever has been playing Man U lately. But yeah, Man U should win over there. No problem. I agree with you. This next match is kind of intriguing. Fulham and Palace. Not really much to play for between either team. I think, well, Palace can still pass Chelsea, I suppose. They will not catch Fulham to get into 10th.
No. I'm going to go with Fulham at home.
Yeah, it's at the Cottage. You take Fulham, I'll take Palace.
Okay.
We'll see how that goes. Could be either way. It doesn't really matter. Maybe the matchup of the weekend. We got Liverpool and Aston Villa.
Liverpool.
I'm going to take Villa.
Okay.
Because why not? Just to make it intriguing. Yeah, and a match that Sam Dyche needs to get 3 points out of. Wolves and Everton.
I'm going to go with Everton.
Smart. Yeah. Are we going to see the same Wolves we've been seeing that just don't give a shit? I think you might be right, even though it's in Wolverhampton. I think I'm going to take Everton as well. And now, for your kind of your consolation prize sort of games, Forest is going to take on Arsenal. Forest needs a win, but can it come against Arsenal at home?
I think Arsenal will play much better this week. I'm going with my Arsenal.
Forest does two things, remember. But I think Arsenal may want to take out some frustration on these guys. Even though Forest needs a win. Again, they're just 1 point or so out of relegation. Sorry, 3 points. They're 3 points. So they have a little bit of wiggle room. There's a little bit of wiggle room, but if Leeds wins, it'll be tough for them. But I think Arsenal is going to win as well. Doing Leeds a huge favor, who's taking on West Ham. West Ham and Leeds at the London Stadium.
I think I might go draw on that one.
I'm going to say Leeds win just to make it interesting.
Okay.
They may not win, but what kind of a story is that? We'll see. We'll see what happens with them. Making that last week so important. Brighton and Southampton. Southampton already done. Now they're just showcasing players for sale. Yeah, Brighton's going to win. Brighton's going to win at home. The aforementioned City and Chelsea at the Etihad.
City.
Gosh darn it. As I say, I don't like picking Chelsea to lose. So I'm going to say draw, and I'll take the -1. I'll take the -1. And then the last match of the week before they play again, I believe it's on Wednesday, but the last match we're going to cover for this one, Newcastle's second match of the week versus this time Leicester.
Newcastle.
And, Newcastle's going to win, and that may be the end of Leicester City.
Yeah, I think that would relegate them.
Yeah. Too bad. See how quick John Terry jumps from that ship as soon as that game's over. We'll see. But that's it for the week. Good to be back. Good to be back after a couple weeks.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this week on Starting 11. We will be back next week. We will also be back soon with another episode of Playoff Beards, recapping the second round of the NHL playoffs. Snark and I host that. So if you're interested in the NHL, check that out. Snark, where can the people find you?
Well, you mentioned the Playoff Beards. I believe if you sign up for our Patreon, just for any tier level, you'll be able to see LGRN after Snark. It's a Patreon-only show. It happens once in a while. We'd like to do it a little bit more regular, but my certain co-host has had some life people in a good way. Just trying to nail down a spot has been kind of tricky, but it's going to be coming back again very soon. You can also try following me at Snark Yeti on Twitter, but guys, I do not do very much on Twitter at all. How about you, Adelia?
You can find me at Adelia Chambo on Twitter. I am doing more with Twitter. I don't know why, but I am. And until next time, guys, see you next week.